Hey guys, welcome back to the Stearns Design Build channel. Today we'll sit down with our founder, Hugh Stearns, to talk about something that's been on a lot of people's minds, economic uncertainty and how it affects remodeling. We'll take a look back at the 2008 recession and what we learned from that, and then fast forward to now, where current tariffs and market shifts are creating a lot of questions for homeowners. So let's get into it. So let's start with 2008. It was a huge moment for a lot of industries, especially construction and home improvement. What do you remember most about how it impacted Stearns Design Build?
It didn't have a huge amount of impact on Stearns Design Build. We were in a pretty good position at that point. Um, I, my peers around the country, it impacted them far more than it impacted us. And I don't think it was just our company. I think it was our area. Bryan College Station tends to be somewhat recession proof. I wouldn't say proof, but resistant. The university certainly is a big part of that and helps that. So we fared through the 2008 recession much better than most people around the country, no doubt. We dealt with a lot of clients who were very concerned, and there were some implications, but we were very fortunate, and it wasn't as impactful to us as it was to other people. A lot of construction companies completely went out of business during that time.
Wow. Okay. So how did your clients respond? Were they canceling projects? They were scaling down, waiting?
I think we had a few canceled projects and a few that went on hold. Well, they didn't go into construction, but I don't know that we completely lost projects. I think mostly people cut back a little bit, and we had a couple who went on hold before going into construction.
And was that just fear, or do you think that your clients were being affected while you were not?
I think it was primarily fear. That because our area tends to do fairly well through recessions, knocking on wood, that it was just fear, reasonable fear, understandable fear, smart fear to pay attention to, but everything went forward that we had in the works at the time at some point.
I see. So, did you have to change your approach at all during that time?
Well, we certainly changed our approach in terms of just addressing the concerns and fears of clients. But our overall approach, we didn't really change. Our system, we didn't change.
Okay. And then was there anything that you needed to feel like you needed to recover from or bounce back to?
Fear.
Just fear.
So we had the fear too, right? So when something like that happens, it definitely does catch our breath.
Yeah.
And it was, and especially as I was listening to people around the country, my peers around the country and what they were going through, I just kept thinking, well, it's going to hit us eventually. It's going to hit us eventually. And it certainly did get a little bit worse through the period, but we just never got hit as severely as other people. I think the oil field and the university really helped us a lot.
Okay. Let's see. Well, now, here we are again. Tariffs on goods like lumber, steel, cabinetry, and fixtures have homeowners asking a lot of questions. What are we seeing on the ground today?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think in terms of those things, the tariffs, that's really more indicative of COVID, which was also very difficult, right? So we had lots of supply chain issues through COVID, and that's what the tariffs are likely to cause. We're seeing a little bit of that, not nearly to the effect we did with COVID at this point. People stocked up ahead of time, and a lot of measures were taken to try to diminish the impact, or at least delay the impact of tariffs.
Right.
There's no doubt lumber prices are going up, and metal prices are going up as well. But to this point, it hasn't been as drastic as we were afraid that it might be.
Okay, well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Would you say this feels similar to 2008, or is it something different?
Right now, there is an aspect that feels similar to 2008. So the market is overvalued now, and everybody keeps saying the market's going to go down, the market's going to go down. So that's creating some of the fears that are reminiscent of 2008. Just people's concerns. Right now, the market's still going up.
Right.
So I think that it's been foretold that the market would go down for a long time, and I think people are kind of going, yeah, well, maybe that's not right.
Right.
We're really not feeling a big impact of that now. But I think it's wise for people to be mindful of the overvaluation of the market and what might happen. Um, the but in terms of the tariffs, I think that that's much more indicative of COVID in 2008.
Okay, I see. Let's talk to the homeowners who've been dreaming of a kitchen remodel but are hearing about these prices that are going up. What should they know?
Well, the prices don't very often go back down. There are some exceptions to that. When a hurricane hits, plywood prices will skyrocket and then come back down somewhat. They don't always ever come back to what they originally were.
Right.
And war can do the same thing. For whatever reason, I guess the military, and of course with a hurricane, it makes sense. But it seems that the first to be hit, price to be hit, and the price that gets hit the hardest is sheet goods, plywood.
Okay.
And of course, a lot of projects have a lot of plywood on them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest thing. And then metals also. We typically in residential construction, we're less dependent on the price of metal, but certainly when we're pouring a foundation, there's a lot of metal in it. Those things, and it's not to say that we're not being impacted. We are.
Mm-hmm.
Those prices are going up. They're just not quite as we had set ourselves for large increases, and we just haven't seen that level of increase to this point.
Okay. Do you think that that's coming, or do you think that it's maybe receiving more media hype than is actually going to happen?
Well, disclaimers, I'm not an economist, so it's hard for me to say, but I do pay attention. It feels a little bit like the peak that we expected won't be as high.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be things going to negotiate deals that are beneficial, and that maybe we won't be hit as hard as we had feared.
Okay. What are the biggest mistakes you see people make when reacting to market changes like this?
Well, I think the biggest mistake I see is people who think that the prices will come back down.
Mm-hmm.
And with the two exceptions that I mentioned, most of the time when prices go up, they don't come back down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing this will be similar. And even if they come back down, they don't come back down to where they were.
Right.
So that's just the nature of the market.
What's your advice for homeowners who want to be prepared for whatever happens next?
Be rich. Once again, I think that's, maintain your house as you think about spending money on your home and things are getting tight. If they get tight for you, don't delay repairs because delayed repairs will generally end up growing into bigger issues. The first thing you should always do is make sure that the paint is good on your house. If there's any rot, that's taken care of. Those kinds of things are the essentials. And lots of times we'll come onto projects and people have these great ambitions and they've got a lot of work that needs to be done on their house just to bring it up that they're not necessarily thinking about. So it's a good idea to have a program where you're looking at your roof and your air conditioner and your paint job and the big ticket items that can come up and surprise you, and make sure you know where you are on that. And that's something we can help with too. So when we come in and do a project, when asked, we'll do that kind of investigation.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking about this topic. I know it's been on a lot of people's minds and people are either worried or scared or stressed, but I think it's good to have insight into it and talk about the topic openly. So
yeah, I think it's a really, people are worried and maybe they're not and they should be, right?
Right.
These are things that are coming from us. My sense is, and once again, I'm not an economist and I'm not a realtor, but investing in your home not only is an investment in your quality of life, it is also an investment in an asset that you own and one that typically weathers the ups and downs of the economy pretty well. So although I've got a biased position, I think that investing in your home is one of the better things you can do, especially in difficult times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, you heard it here first from Stearns Design Build, topic about the current tariffs that are being discussed and implemented. The biggest takeaway we can give you is just to ride the storm and make sure to take care of your home and yourself, and have a great day.
Thank y'all.